Okay, so we're going to kick off this vlog for the next couple of weeks. It is May the 18th, it's a Wednesday, and I have been reading Half Sick of Shadows the past few days. If you watched my last vlog, you'll know that I've been working on this. For those who didn't see that last vlog, this is a King Arthur retelling following the perspective of the Lady of Shalott. So very interesting. We're able to move between different perspectives time-wise. So it's all the Lady of Shalott, but some parts are taking place in the present and then other parts are taking place in the future because she is a seer, so she's able to see visions that are taking place in the future, which just raises the stakes that much more, the tension that much which just raises the tension that much more because she's seeing a lot of the things that we know occur in the myth, but in the present, they haven't happened yet. And so you have this hope that maybe they'll find a way around these unfortunate things that happen, but you just don't know. I just don't know how this book is going to end. I have just under 100 pages left, so I'm probably going to finish tonight. I'm going to at least try to. And I'm really stressed. Last night, I also ended up reading 100 pages and I ended with the romance that's in this really kind of coming together a little bit, but it's a little bit of a doomed romance because it has to do with Lancelot, but I'm not sure how everything's going to fall out. However, the fact that this romance came together, like, I'm not a huge romance reader. I don't necessarily get super invested in very many romances. There's very few that I really love. But this one, I literally teared up last night when I read about them finally coming together, partially because I am so stressed about what's going to end up happening with them, but also because it was just so happy. Like, I'm just so happy that she's taking this chance, and I just hope that, I don't know what I hope for. I really don't. We'll just see how the rest of this book goes, but it hurt me. It hurt me in such a good way, and also just made me really, really happy. So it was like mostly happy tears, but there's still that slight tension that I think made the tears come, if that makes sense. So like, yes, I was really happy for them, but all the mess of emotions involved in this romance just, yeah, made me tear up. So anyway, definitely very engaged in this story. Is it a perfect story? No, it is very flawed. The pacing's a little bit weird. I'm honestly not sure what in the heck's gonna happen in this 100 pages because I feel like it's not enough to really bring everything together, but I also feel like it could be enough depending on how the author ends up doing it. I love the way these characters are portrayed. We mostly are focusing in on Lancelot, the Lady of Shalott, Arthur, of course, Guinevere, and Morgana. They're kind of like a set of 5 that are really good friends, and that's how it starts off. But you know what's going to happen between these people if you know the myth, and even the Lady of Shalott, Elaine, knows what's going to happen because she can see the future, but it's very much an idea of she can see the future and the most likely possibilities, but she can't know exactly what's going to happen in the future, why things happen the way they do, nor can she know which of her visions are actually going to come true because human beings are very complex, and so future is not set in stone. So yes, basically it's amazing. I'm loving it, and we'll see if I can finish it tonight. I really think I can. But I also do want to read at least a chapter of Tess of the D'Urbervilles. That is still going well as well. I finally finished Phase the First. I really don't know if I'm going to finish Tess by the end of this month. I would love to, and I think there's a strong chance I could, but I just have so much I want to read, and I feel like I need to start some things for June soon so I can kind of get a head start on them. But you know, I'm really trying to let myself mood read a lot more. I think the rest of this year, or at least over the next few months, just because I've been really enjoying it. So even for Ancients-a-thon, I'm not going to put too much stress on myself. I am going to prioritize Ancients-a-thon reads, especially the group read, but I'm just gonna let myself just enjoy reading because I just feel like that's what I need right now. Like, I am one that I love my Books to Books TBR game. I think it's so fun, and I think challenges are really fun, but I also think, you know, everything in moderation. Like, I've done my challenges for a couple years now. Before it was my personal Bookopoly board that I came up with, then I did Books to Books. So it's been a couple of years that I've been doing those kinds of things, and I think now I just want to try to mood read and just go with the flow a little bit more, at least for a few months, and take a little break from that. So I think that's probably what I'll do. But anyway, reading's going great. I'm also almost done with If Walls Could Talk by Lucy Worsley, which is the nonfiction I'm listening to about a history of the home. That's going really well. I'm on to The Kitchen now, which I think is the final part. And yeah, it's just really fascinating seeing how things in the home have changed over time. But yes, I think I'm gonna end this clip here. I should be getting food very soon because I'm starving, so I ordered something and it should be on its way. But yeah, that's all I have to say, and I will update you once I finish this. Hey guys, I finished definitely a favorite of the year. I did, however, give the book 4.75 stars on Storygraph. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads, but 4.75 stars on Storygraph because Lance deserved better. At least he deserved a little bit more acknowledgement. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil anything. But if you've read this, let me know your thoughts. I mean, make a spoiler warning, or you can just direct message me if you want to discuss it. But yes, I think Lancelot, he just wasn't given enough. I feel like he was a little bit forgotten in the end, and that's all I'm going to say. But I think the ending was very thought-provoking, and I definitely cried a lot. I was going to film myself crying, but it wasn't like full-on sobbing, so I don't know if you would have been able to see it very well on the footage. So I decided just not to worry about that, but definitely cried even, oh gosh, I set it down. Oh geez, I set it down to, like, you know, process and figure out what I was gonna do with the rest of my night. And just thinking about it made me just start crying all over again. Even just thinking about it now is making me So I was going to read a chapter of Tess, but I think I need to read something a little more cheery. So I'm just gonna read possibly all of Winnie the Pooh. It's only 9 o'clock, which means I have like a couple hours before it's my bedtime, as far as, you know, when I get up tomorrow and when my brain is trained to go to sleep. And this is only like 160 pages, and they're not even full pages, like it's a children's book. So I think I might read this for my one read that I'll probably get in for May of the Moderns, because yeah, that's probably just what's going to happen. I don't want to read too many classics at the end of this month because June will be full of classics, different kinds of classics. So I think it would be fine, but I just don't want to, you know, fry my brain. So I think I'm gonna try to get this done, or at least get a good chunk of the way through it tonight before I go to bed, so I can cheer myself up a little bit. And then tomorrow I will decide when I'm going to read. I mean, I'll probably work on Tess mostly tomorrow since I've missed a couple days of really focusing on Tess. But yeah, anyway, that's where I'm at right now. And sorry about the shaky camera, but I just needed to get out some feelings. So anyway, there's that. Also, sorry if I'm talking way too quiet for where this camera is. My roommate and her fiance are out watching a movie, and I already was kind of loud when I started this, so I wanted to quiet down. But anyway, I'm just gonna get into Winnie the Pooh. Hey guys, quick little update. So it's been a few days since I last updated. It is now the 23rd of May. And like I said in the last clip, I did finish Half Sick of Shadows. Really enjoyed it, as you could probably tell. I had a little qualm with the ending regarding Lancelot and how things end for him. But overall, I found it to be really fascinating, really beautifully written, and just great storytelling of this wonderful legend that I just really love. Is it a perfect book? No. know. I think Jennifer Brooks, when she talked about this book, mentioned that it was a 5 stars for her personally, but is it necessarily a 5-star worthy book, like on an objective level? Probably not. I feel very much the same. I think there's definitely some flaws with this book. The pacing's a little weird. I feel like it's not going to work for everybody for sure because it is very much character focused. There's not necessarily a ton of plot. It's more about getting to know these characters, their dynamics, and the plot is about exploring those dynamics as opposed to actually telling the full legend, the full story of King Arthur. Additionally, like I also mentioned, there are a few like kind of cringeworthy lines throughout this book, which is kind of unfortunate. But again, because I loved everything about it for the most part, those cringeworthy lines didn't bother me quite as much. So yeah, basically 5 stars for me. I really, really loved this, and it's definitely going to be on my favorites of the year. It's been my favorite that I've read so far this month as well. I mean, overall, it's been a really great reading month anyway, but this one definitely took my heart and definitely deserves first place if I were to rate all of my books for the month so far. I did also finish Winnie the Pooh. I just read it in one sitting to get in my May of the Moderns pick, at least one, and it was really sweet. I think I ended up giving it like 3.754 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was what you would expect and really followed the adaptation I've seen of Winnie the Pooh very well, actually. Or yes, the adaptation followed this really well, which was really nice to see. And yeah, it's just a cute, fun story, and it definitely brightened my mood after having finished Half Sick of Shadows earlier in the night, and then finishing this was just really nice to end the day on. And then since then, I've kind of sort of started Mirror and the Light. I'm on page 24, so not very far at all, but I'm really enjoying being back in this story. I was kind of surprised that reading this, picking this up, I actually felt so excited. I remember after Wolf Hall, Marissa from Blatantly Bookish mentioned that she was really excited to pick up Bring Up the Bodies because it just felt like coming home. Like the writing style was just very comforting to her after the first one, even though she didn't love the first one. And she mentioned being kind of surprised that she wanted to get to the next one so much. I didn't necessarily feel that way. I felt like I just struggled enough with the first one that, I mean, Bring Up the Bodies I was excited for because I knew what was going to happen in that book in regards to Anne Boleyn and stuff. Plus it was shorter, which was really nice, but I didn't necessarily super look forward to reading the second one. And this one I didn't necessarily super look forward to reading either, but as soon as I started, I was just like, yes, it's so great to be back in this writing that I've had such a struggle with, that I suddenly just, it feels really comforting to me. And yeah, just being back in Thomas Cromwell's head. And I don't know, there's just an atmosphere to this book, and I think it comes into play in Bring Up the Bodies, which is probably why I'm liking these two better than the first one. They just have this sense of doom, and the first one didn't necessarily, because you knew that it was more about Cromwell's rise to power, and so you are seeing like mostly positive things happen for him. But Bring Up the Bodies, you have the sense of doom because you know what's going to happen to Anne Boleyn. And then in this, there's the sense of tension and doom because you know by the end of this, Cromwell himself is going to die. Sorry if you consider that a spoiler. It's just history. So like if you've learned about the Tudors, you know those things. But anyway, yeah, there's just this wonderful atmosphere to this story that just keeps me engaged even when it's a little slow. This one is a lot longer than the other two, so I'm curious to see how well it holds my attention. But my goal is by the end of May, in the next 10 or a little less than 10 days, I guess at this point, to get to page 376 is the halfway point. So I think that's very doable, but I just got to get myself to focus on it, which sometimes can be a struggle. So I mean, even the last few days, I haven't really read that much. Like I said, I'm only on page 24 of this. So sometimes after I finish a book, I've noticed, actually not sometimes, most of the time after I finish a book, I usually need a couple days to like not read a ton, because usually when I've finished a book, it's because I've spent a few days of like really like reading a lot, and then I need a few days of breaks. So I've kind of had that, so hopefully that means, like I said, I'll be able to get through half of this by the end of this month. In fact, I'd like to get through half of this relatively quickly so that I can at least start the Book of the City of Ladies for Ancients-a-thon, so we'll see how that goes. That's all I have to say now, so I will update you once I get a bit farther in this. I'm thinking probably I'm going to end up with maybe 2 more clips, as I will be posting this vlog early next week, so yeah, I'll want to start editing and stuff with it. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I will see you once I get a little further into The Mirror and the Light. Hey guys, so this is going to be my last clip. It is the 30th of May, Monday. And frankly, the past couple weeks I have not read very much. So I did get to about page 160 in Mirror and the Light. I don't know what it is about watching my siblings, but for some reason I struggle a lot more to take time to read. I'm more tempted to do other things. A lot of that I think has to do with me feeling like I need to entertain them and be really present with them because I'm watching them. But like, they're teenagers, so it's not like I really need to be entertaining them. Like, they can easily entertain themselves. But that's just how I feel. So I end up not reading quite as much when I'm watching them, and I've been watching my brother the past few days, so that's just the way it is. But anyway, yes, I got a good chunk of the way into The Mirror and the Light, and so far I'm enjoying it. Overall, it's really interesting to see how far Thomas Cromwell has come. It's fascinating to see him at this point because due to what happens at the end of Bring Up the Bodies, he's in a position where he's at his most powerful, and in some ways he's at his most confident in his power at this point in the story. However, because of the outcomes of the last books, he also is in a more tenuous place, or at least he's more aware of how tenuous his power is. Is that the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Basically, he's coming to understand how flaky, basically, Henry is, and how easily Henry and how willing Henry is to get rid of people, so to speak. So it's fascinating to watch him because in certain situations he's definitely a lot more outspoken, he's a lot more confident in what he's saying and his ideas. And yet, because he's constantly thinking about Wolsey and Anne Boleyn and other characters, you can tell he's also kind of afraid. And so it's a very interesting dynamic going on in his head right now. But it's very long and probably longer than it needs to be. I am only 160 pages in, and I can already see some parts that I think could have been edited out, and I'm sure that's just going to continue throughout the rest of the work. That being said, I mean, it's still enjoyable. I'm not hating it or anything because of that. I'm enjoying a lot about it. It just is really slow, and there are some things that I feel like are a bit drawn out more than they need to be. I've also been working on Tess. That's still going well. I've decided to just take that one chapter at a time, so each day I'm just reading one chapter at least. There may be some days, like yesterday, I ended up reading 2 because I felt so inclined. But I just don't want to rush it, and I don't want it to become a stress. So I'm really just kind of taking it very slow, reading a chapter every day, and if I miss a day, that's okay. We're just gonna keep going until I finish it. And yeah, I think that's smart because June, I just have a lot going on between needing to finish The Mirror and the Light, I need to do Ancients-a-thon, and also now Tess I will be reading as well. So there's just kind of enough going on in my reading life that I just don't want to overwhelm myself. So we're taking Tess slow. I also have been getting myself organized for Ancients-a-thon, so I thought I'd tell you that here so you can know what to look forward to in the next vlog. My plan is I really want to try to get 200 pages of this read between today and tomorrow. Will that happen? Probably not, but I'm going to really push myself to get as much of that read as possible. That way, I will only have 400 pages left to read in June, which I feel like will be very doable. And I'm planning to break up some of my Ancients-a-thon reads. So basically, my plan is on the 1st of June, the very first day of June, I'm going to read one of the plays so I can just get something out of the way, automatically have something done for Ancients-a-thon, and just feel really accomplished and good about that. And then I'll also read a chapter of Tess, obviously, and if I have any more time and energy to read, I can work on The Mirror and the Light. That will be kind of a theme throughout the month, is after Ancients-a-thon and Tess of the D'Urbervilles, if I have any motivation and energy and time to read in a given day, I will be picking up The Mirror and the Light. So there's that. And then after the first day, starting the second, I'm actually planning to start the Book of the City of Ladies. I've broken this up into about 13 days, I think 12 or 13 days. And that will be about 20 pages a day of this until I finish, which will be about the 14th of June. So the first half of the month, I'm going to be working on this primarily, and then we'll get that one play done. And then I plan to, on the 15th, so the day after I finish this, I'm going to read the other play that I want to read, probably a play by Euripides. And then the rest of the month, I'll just focus on Canterbury Tales and just see how far I get into that, basically, while also really trying to prioritize finishing Mirror and the Light and continuing to work through Tess. So that's my plan for June. If by some chance I finish The Mirror and the Light before the end of the month, I'll probably start Silas Marner by George Eliot so I can get that done as well. Or I also will need to see what the challenges for Kieran's TBR challenge will be, what the prompt will be. So we'll see what books I end up getting for that. But yes, that is it for this vlog. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below if you've read any of the books I've mentioned, what you thought of them, if you're interested in any of the books I've mentioned. Be sure, of course, to like and subscribe if you would like to and have not yet. And I will see you in my next vlog, in which I will start Ancients-a-thon, which is really, really exciting. So we'll see you then. Bye!